Welcome to Behind the Aisle podcast, where we are just two wedding professionals sharing a no bullshit approach to what goes on behind the scenes in the industry. My name is Sarah, and I'm a wedding photographer.
And I am Katie, and I'm a wedding planner.
And this is What the Fuck Wednesday. We love What the Fuck Wednesday.
For reals.
It's our favorite thing in the whole world. And we got some good tea for y'all today.
Juicy!
Very yummy. Very good. We love it. If you have not done so already and would like to follow us on... What am I doing? On Instagram. I'm just going to go for it. That's not where I was going with this. But go ahead and follow us on Instagram, behindtheaislepodcast.com. What I was going to say is we need your tea. We need you to talk to us. We need you to tell us your stories.
What kind of for those that are just tuning in, what is What the Fuck Wednesday, Sarah?
What the Fuck Wednesday is our monthly. It's once a month. Mm-hmm. It's a monthly podcast episode. It's our favorite one where you guys write into us and we tell your stories about a what the fuck moment that happened to you. Big, small, anything. It could be a question. It could be a statement. It could be a very long story. It's completely up to you on what you want to share with us. But we would really love for you guys to be paying attention at your wedding days and be like, that's what I'm going to write in. That was
like literally if you were saying to yourself like on a wedding day, like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck, whatever. Like I'm hoping that we're imprinting on your brain.
Yes.
Of like, I have to submit this. Then maybe as you're sitting at dinner on your wedding days, you're pulling up our form.
Yeah.
And you're just going to town.
Yep. Like just
Please.
Honestly, vent. Just vent to us. That's what we want.
It doesn't have to be grammatically correct. You don't have to like write out a whole novel.
Yeah.
You can like send it in bullet point forms, being like, "This is the shit that's been happening."
And you can be completely anonymous.
Yeah.
We try to avoid names of venues or any other vendors or anything like that. That's really the only thing we try to avoid because we don't want this to be a shit talking podcast, but this one is kind of, and we love it.
What the fuck Wednesdays are just here, it's essentially we're sharing grievances. Sarah and I like to share our own grievances every now and again, but we really want to hear from y'all and the shit that y'all go through.
So if you would like to submit a what the fuck moment, you can do so at behindtheaislepodcast.com. There's a form there. It's very easy, very simple, and we want to hear from you because we love your stories.
Yeah.
So we are going to air our own grievances first, and then we will get into one or two stories that you guys have written into us today. So do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, let me just get it out of my system.
Okay.
So the only, people have actually not been doing, like they've been all right.
Yay.
Which is
Everyone's
great.
behaving.
Everyone is behaving, which makes it kind of sad for content here. But on the wedding day itself, I like that, obviously. Except for this one. So at a wedding, very large, very, very large, like over 200 people large. The whole entire wedding day in and of itself was a success. It was wonderful. There was in the planning process, there was a couple of vendors that I was actually concerned about, and then turned out on wedding day, those were not the vendors that I was concerned about. It turned out to be the people that I wasn't concerned about, then they became a concern. There was a plethora of like different things. Some of the things also just from the guest perspective as well, I was kind of like turning my head being like, what the fuck are you doing? One of the first things was started the wedding literally on time. I always love it when that happens. Obviously, like you would think that it's a goal that every single wedding starts on time. Obviously, us in the wedding industry, we probably start 5 minutes late most of the time, like whatever. Nope. This wedding started right on time.
Love that.
I was excited. Especially because this wedding party was fucking huge. It was massive.
Was it your largest?
It's in line with the largest. Like
I have a grievance on that.
Oh, Jesus. I think it was 9 and 9 on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
my largest is 10 and 10.
Yeah. So grand total of 18 people. It's ridiculous.
Why do you need that many fucking people?
I have no idea.
You don't know that many people. That many people are not important to you. Have them be guests at that point.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
That's your guest count,
bro.
Make them guests.
But thankfully, like, honestly, normally when I see large bridal parties like that, like there's so much drama. People are like fighting and scratching each other. Nah, these people, like they all were like fam, like all together. It worked out really nice. Again, that is the 1%. So Couple lucked out. I mean, their people were great. Their guests, though, quite a few of them, literally as the bride and groom are recessing down the aisle, I have guests that are showing up. They're showing up. I was at a venue with huge property that's really well known and really sought after, which is nice. It was technically like our first time as like Tilly and Teal being there, but I have worked at that venue with like other planners, like assisting them like 5 million times. So I am very well familiar like with the property. But I it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like these people showing up literally 30 minutes late to a wedding. And then when they're showing up, they're visiting the welcome table so they can pour themselves like a water cup. And then they're looking at the zero. And I'm like, and my couple is walking back down the aisle, and they're like starting to trot, like the guests are starting to trot up the hill. And I like intercede them. And I'm like, hey, obviously professionally, I'm not being like, why the fuck are you this late? But in my brain, that's what I was saying. But I literally said like, hey guys, just letting you know, like the recessional is now happening. The wedding ceremony is over. If you actually just want to pivot 90 degrees and go the opposite direction, that's where you will find everybody. And I kind of put it into like I try to make it the best out of it. And I'm like, hey, if you actually go that way, you're going to be the first ones at the bar. You're fucking late. 30 minutes late. Like that was already like my grievance too. And it just wasn't like 1 or 2 people. It was a big group. Like it was a group of 10 people.
Did they all come together, you think?
I think so.
Okay.
Perhaps.
That's where a pre-ceremony cocktail hour would be very beneficial.
For real, man. Like It also doesn't help too that this couple, they did not have any guest transportation. So that's also another big thing that happens a lot too, is if, when couples don't provide guest transportation.
Willy-nilly out here.
Yep. They're just going to show up like whenever.
Yeah.
Also, one of those guests in that group wore a white bodycon dress. And I'm talking stark white. There's no pattern on it. It is white, babe. It is full on white. Something that you would probably, like a bride would wear to her bachelorette party.
Oh no.
Stark white. Homegirl was like a little teenage girl. I don't think she maybe understood like that it was a no-no.
She came with somebody who knows.
You would think.
Oh no.
White. White as hell.
Was anything said? Anyone?
In my head.
Did anyone say anything to you?
Nope.
Oh.
No.
Well,
I think at one point, like Bride and I, we had kind of like giggled about it, like when she was definitely inebriated. And so I was like, and I brought it up because I just wanted to like, just to see like what she would say or whatever. She goes, yeah, that's like an extended cousin or whatever. She's like, meh, again, she's inebriated. Obviously, like if she was sober and like we were still like in the midst of, doing things or whatever, I obviously, guys, I would never have brought it up.
Right.
But like because I knew it was a safe set. I'm like, haha, like look at this person, she wore white. She looked at me and like rolled her eyes and she goes, yeah, it's a cousin that I had to invite. And I was like, well, damn.
Yeah, let's not do that, guys.
Bro. So that was that was the first thing or whatever. Not that big of a deal, right? I mean, I'm sure we've all like met with like late guests or whatever, but bro, like 30 minutes. Just the fact that they like walked up to the welcome table and poured themselves like a water cup. And I'm like, y'all are not even like trying to beeline it up to the ceremony. Yeah. You're just like, let me just show up whenever. And I'm like, what the fuck? Anyways, the other one too is that my catering team that day, bro.
Oh my God. With the catering teams. Oh my God.
Have you ever like poured water on an anthill and you see like what happens to the ants? You didn't torture like bugs when you were little?
No,
I did.
Not quite.
I did. Not with the magnifying glass. I wasn't like that evil. Well, I guess pouring water on their house, that's pretty evil. Anyway, like when you do anything to like disturb like an anthill, they all freak out. And they're like running around and all that kind of stuff. Picture that. That was my catering kitchen at this wedding. I shit you not. They were running into each other. They were like,
had they never done this before?
So I put 2 and 2 together that a good majority of the staff were hired from like a staffing agency.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We need to stop doing this because it's not working out. This is the third one that I've heard hiring from a staffing agency.
Now it was a mixture of people who they do work together, but then there was those like, so it was all over chaos. Like okay.
How do we avoid this? Like, I understand being busy and having multiple weddings in a day, but if you are not able to,
you have to say no.
You have to say no. You have to not
like I'm
overrun yourself.
Correct. I'm not going to be able to have the capacity to be able to serve your wedding well because I don't have enough staff to do that on that day.
You guys are shooting yourselves in the foot with these poor staffing things that you're doing.
Yes.
It's bad.
And it's not just catering either, bro. It's not just catering.
It looks so bad. Like, I have heard so many times. And they're okay. People, I mean, I guess you're okay with it. Are you okay with it? Like, if you're not doing anything to fix it.
I feel like it's just become like a norm, especially with catering. It's a norm that they will.
I have no affiliation with any kind of catering. I have no experience. Like, I know nothing. But common sense would tell me that you got to scale back.
Yep.
And stop, I don't want to say being greedy, but I feel like people are just taking weddings out.
Like, if you take on more than what you can handle, then the execution and the experience that you're going to give is going to be lower than what, like, those that have hired you, like, you're not going to be able to fulfill, like, your obligation well.
It's putting all your eggs everywhere.
For real.
And not being able to take care of them.
Yeah. And then like at the end of the day, like, what are you looking for? Like a badge of honor of like, oh yeah, we had, so
money.
Whenever a vendor like comes to me and they're like, oh, we had like 10 weddings this weekend. In my head, I'm like,
the fuck?
Hello? How did it all work out? Like, everything went well, probably to you, but if I ask somebody else on like your 10 wedding days or whatever, I'm sure you probably like fucked up somewhere.
Yeah.
There's just not like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. Like, at all. Like, it's not a badge of honor. Like, I already, like, when I always tell our couples like that I don't do double dipping like on weekends.
I don't either.
I fucked myself this weekend, I'll be honest.
Yeah. It happens
on accident. But see, and I already know. So I've already put parameters in place though of like how to protect that. But I never intentionally like put myself on a Saturday wedding and then put myself on a Sunday or vice versa.
Right.
Same thing with my girls. Same thing with like my my assistants, my wedding day supporters. I don't have them do like back-to-back weddings as far as I can help it. Sometimes I fuck up the schedule. Poor Emma, that happened to her in September. I looked at it and I was like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. She's like, it's okay. Stop me.
Yeah. I stopped doing double headers too because it's just too much. You just can't give yourself.
I feel like you give 100% of yourself from like Saturday's wedding. There's no way I feel like you can give 100% of yourself on Sunday because you haven't given yourself enough time to recover.
Right.
There's no fucking way. No effing way. Like, at all. So,
Boundaries.
That was just like my biggest grievance because dinner service was hella slow. And it was bad. It was bad, y'all. It was so bad to the point where the couple even like you could feel it. Ugh. Sometimes I try to avoid like if I can see that dinner service is slow, I try to avoid it as much as possible, like for the couples to feel it. Yeah. But the couple felt it and they were like, what is going on? And I even had to go to like the head of the catering and I was like, you need to get back in your kitchen and like figure out what is going on because everyone is like running around with their heads cut off. People yelling at each other. People are giving direction here, there, everywhere. It's not working out. Food was subpar, which I was really bummed about.
That's because you can't put all your effort into one. Oh my God. I can't stand it.
It's wild.
Like food, photography, venue, literally top 3.
Lasting impression.
Top 3 lasting impressions that
I also want to throw DJ in there too, because let me tell you something. From a guest perspective, DJ. The 2 things that your guests are literally going to remember is
the food and the music.
Well, food and music and weather-wise, like in regards to your environment. Was your venue too cold, too hot, whatever have you? That is a lasting impression. How they feel on a wedding day. That's how. So if you offer or you serve shitty food or the food is cold or that's like happens, that is something that is like a lasting impression. And then if your DJ or band can't provide the entertainment well enough, that is also another lasting impression.
Yeah. And referrals go a long way.
Oh yeah.
Word of mouth is everything in this business.
Yep.
So you fuck up on one of those and it's just, you can write that entire wedding off.
Oh yeah.
As poor referrals. I can't
Yeah.
stand that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So there's and then my last little agreements from that same wedding or whatever is that they had 2 maids of honor, 2 best men.
I have a wedding coming up that's like that.
I had told them to they wanted both of them to do so all 4 of them to do toasts. And the whole point of it was that they were tag teaming together, meaning like maids of honor were like sharing a speech together. Best men were sharing a speech together. My DJ went a little rogue on me. He wasn't too bad or whatever. 'Cause then he checked in with a couple and asked like if remember, it was supposed to be 2 maids of honor, 2 best men. Like the girls were going to go first and then the guys were going to go after that in regards to like tag teaming this. That was the original plan. That's what the couple had communicated to me. But then I guess the maids of honor then wrote 2 separate speeches and the best men wrote 2 separate speeches. And I don't think they communicated that to their friends, aka the couple. So then when the DJ went, and it's, toast giving time, DJ went up to like, check on them, being like, yo, you ready to go? That sort of thing or whatever. Here's the lineup that I've got on the timeline, which is based off of what I had on my timeline. So the DJ was doing what he was supposed to be doing originally. But then the girls were like, no, we're going to go girl, guy. And he's like, that's not what I have. And like the maid of honor or whatever, because there was kind of like a little hierarchy between the 2 of them. She had said like, no, this is the way that we had all 4 of us planned it. So then he pivoted, but unfortunately the DJ didn't tell me that. So then when he started, and didn't tell the couple that either. So then when he started, and he started with the best man first, I panicked, the couple panicked, to the point where a couple looked at me, I looked at them, I looked at the DJ, and I was like, no, like it's not supposed to be like that. And normally I'm a person where like, I'm like, let's just pivot, like whatever, be flexible.
Yeah.
But they were really adamant about like the girls were supposed to go first and the guys were then and they're supposed to be tag teaming together, like sharing the same speech. So again, because of the lack of communication from like the maids of honor and the best men to the couple had no idea that like it was supposed to be guy, girl. That's how all 4 of them collaborated together to do it that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you have maid of honor or best man duties, you have to communicate.
You got to communicate to your couple, because then they panicked and they were mad at their DJ because they thought their DJ went rogue. I thought the DJ went rogue. And then the guy literally came up to me. It was kind of a weird lull moment. And it was like, this is what they just told me. And I was like, okay, fine. Like we've already gotten people's attention. Like, let's not continue to like make this drawn out thing.
Yeah. Don't make it weird.
Just go. Yeah. So the biggest thing though, 20 fucking minutes.
Oh.
All 4 speeches, 20 fucking minutes. They each took 5 minutes. They each took 5 minutes to fucking say a speech. Now, I mean,
it seems like...
It doesn't seem like a long time, but I always tell people wedding time and like real world time, 2 separate experiences. 5 minutes in a wedding timeline, that is a long time.
That is true.
5 minutes, like you shooting the shit, having coffee with somebody, that flies by like real fucking quick. On a wedding day, especially, you have someone who is speaking for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That is a long fucking time. To the point where, again, guy, girl. So by the time that I got to the last girl, the guests, remember, over 200 people, they had already started having side conversations at the table.
Can't stand that shit.
Like people, you lost the attention.
Yeah.
People were done.
Yeah.
Like, and on top of that, for me, I started off dinner service was already slow. So people were already irritated. Like they had been sitting in their chairs for way too long.
Yeah.
Because dinner service was slow. And now we're going into toast. So now each toast has been 5 minutes. And we hadn't even done the parent dances yet either. Yeah. So,
we got to get this shit done.
For real. And like and they're young, like these, like, they're young, like the early 20s or whatever. And so they like could not read the room. So our last chica, she literally, first of all, I think she was nervous, which is normal for people who don't public speak on the daily. She was nervous. So every time she said like a line, she would laugh after that. And you could barely understand her because she was so nervous. Like,
well, yeah, she's
I love bride house. Like, I love the groom. Like, it was wild. And I was like, oh my God, this is like, first of all, my ears are bleeding. Second of all, this is excruciating because I know this is going to take fucking forever. Because she had a fucking long ass piece of paper. And I'm like, she's not going to pivot. She's not going to be flexible.
So like, cringy when I see the length of people's speeches when they're like back front 4 pages. I'm like,
this is not the time.
No,
this is not the time. Like,
we love you, but just say congratulations and move on.
Maybe share
wants
one cute short story of like, you know, how y'all became friends, or like how you knew that the couple was meant for each other.
I would really love to have toasts kind of go to the wayside unless it's a very important person.
So the funny thing that you say that, remember, I just got back from Alabama. I was part of a mastermind or whatever, and I learned all about Southern weddings and how they do it down there in the deep South. Let me tell you something. Jesus. First of all, a full sit-down dinner is rare for a wedding.
Oh.
They do cocktail-style receptions. That is the norm. That is the norm. Because they have large weddings, like huge, because you got to invite every single auntie, uncle, whatever have you. Cocktail-style receptions are more of the norm, whereas obviously up here...
Yeah, but Southern people like to drink. That's enough food? Or do they just constantly pass hors d'oeuvres?
All night long. It's just hors d'oeuvre thing all night long.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like obviously you've got the bar and all that kind of stuff. But speeches, though, don't happen on a wedding day. The only person that is giving a toast is the host, which typically is bride's. It is still very traditional.
Yeah,
where bride's parents are paying for the wedding day, the groom's parents are paying for the rehearsal dinner. That is still like, it is very, very rare where the couple is even like paying for their weddings down there.
See, I like that. I feel like this whole maid of honor, best man giving a speech thing is so traditional at this point that it's like, seems like it's necessary, but in reality it's really not, and y'all have the same fucking speeches,
bro.
Like, y'all are chat GPTing these speeches out here, and it shows.
Using the same one-liners, like trying to like crack a joke and all that kind of stuff.
If I hear one, and it gets the crowd every time, if I hear one more, all right, bride, put your hand on the table.
Oh my God.
Groom, put your hand on top of hers. Now, how does it feel to have this be the last time you have an upper hand? Like, if you have to Google it, it's been done. Like,
if you have to Google it.
If it's something you find off of Google, it's been
Googleable,
done.
Yeah, then like don't add it into your fucking speech. Don't do that.
Yeah, like I think we need to just kind of
check them out. I do tell my couples now.
I tell them.
I literally do tell them. I said, look, you don't have to have speeches. If anything, if you do want to have any kind of speech, you want to give that to somebody, do it at the rehearsal dinner, because it's a smaller amount of folks there,
and those
it's
are
not
the people
as
that
nerve-wracking. Correct. Because then when you stick people who don't do public speaking on the regular in front of a bunch of eyeballs, shit can go sideways real fucking quick.
My poor brother-in-law, who had to be best man, it was his life goal to be my husband's best man, did not realize that he had to give a speech.
Yeah, air quotes.
In reality, I would have probably nixed speeches altogether if I had known like that was something that you could do. He choked.
Oh no!
In front of, and I feel so bad. He had a whole thing. It was beautifully written, and then stood up there and could not say anything. Like, literally could not say anything. Ended up just being like, "Congratulations, love you, bye." Oh, and it was bad.
Balls.
It was bad to the point we were all like, I was like telling my husband, I was like, "Babe, I think we need to help him. Like, somebody needs to say something." But like, it was bad. So like, if you know somebody can't give a speech,
don't do that to them.
Just don't do it to them. It's not necessary. Like, anyway,
start telling your couples, you don't have to do a speech, bro. You don't have to do like parent dances. I have some parents too where like the couples are making their parents come up and do dances with them, and the parents are like cringing on the inside. I'm like, you don't have to do that.
You don't have to do anything.
For real.
Just have fun.
For real.
Enjoy your party. Leave the formalities at home. You don't need to do them.
So with that last, and I'll end it with this one for that. That last bridesmaid, or the last maid of honor or whatever, because people were literally having side conversations, like full blown. It's like, it's noise now. Remember, they also had a videographer. So this shit is literally being filmed. She shushed everybody in the microphone. She's like, "I'm not done talking." Like, shushed them and was irritated.
Don't shush, because I feel like that'll upset people's ears. But I want to die.
I died. We all died inside. I was like,
it's like a 1, 2, 3 eyes on me.
For real, bro.
Like, if you can hear me, clap your hands.
Like, To me, if I had been in her position and
I
if
would have just said thank you, bye.
Yeah, and then just given the piece of paper to the bride later, being like, this is what I intended to like share with you and all that kind of stuff too. But nope, homegirl literally was like, I'm not done or whatever. And then again, did the nervous laughter after that and was like, and I was like, I almost wanted to go to the DJ being like Oscar style, like just crank the music up and like, let's get her out of there. But
poor lady.
I've always like wanted to kind of do that. Like, how bad, like, I
want to do it so bad.
I probably would have gotten yelled at being like, why the fuck would my wedding planner do that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's rude. But it's like, also people need like, we need like a time cue of some kind for people that like, if you hear like the chimes, your time's up. Like,
or like
bitches be out here giving full life stories.
I have sometimes, like, I've stayed like near, depending on like how I can position myself, I will try to be like in eyesight potentially of, and I'm like,
wrap it up,
doing this in the background or whatever.
And
like,
but I would hate to see that.
I know
it sucks though, because I mean, people need time cues because otherwise they be going off the rails.
That's the one thing now. Even after me have doing this like for many years, I'm like, is that overstepping boundaries? Like, am I responsible for doing something or whatever? I feel like if somebody.
I think it's out of your hands at that point.
See, that I think that's what it is, or whatever. But
otherwise,
like,
you look like
like diva wedding planner,
or like a dictator.
Now, obviously, if someone is like suffering up there, I feel like literally suffering.
You just like rip the mic out of your hands and thank you.
I'd probably be
Have
like,
a seat.
maybe like a tissue and like, you know, okay, we can do like this way. But if like someone is like practically drowning,
right?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody save somebody.
Yeah. There are times where things are just kind of out of your hands.
I can't do anything.
No.
That was like that time where I was like, my girls, like my team was like looking at me like, do we do something? And I'm like, you just got to let her ride.
Yep. Ride the wave.
They actually, the two of them, that day, they like walked out of the room. They were like, I can't do it. The secondhand embarrassment. Like, I'm literally cringing on the inside. And I'm like, okay, go get you a little like dessert.
Yeah. Man. Well, are you done?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I had to think about it. I was like,
yeah. Was that all? My grievance, I had a different grievance, but talking about DJs, I think I need to have this grievance instead.
Oh God.
So this DJ, this is about MCs.
Oh dear.
There's a difference between being a good DJ and being a good MC. Mm-hmm. And if you can't do both, get an MC. Mm-hmm. Because this DJ,
oh shit,
cannot.
Oh no.
Could not. This is the second time I've worked with him.
Oh shit.
He cannot MC for the life of him.
Fuck.
And I'm not going to get into specifics because it'll be prevalent onto who I'm talking about.
Okay.
But this DJ narrated things that were happening.
What?
Yeah. So like, you know, like if there's a lull in between like the DJ announcing, so let's give an example. The DJ announcing parent dances, or like having everyone sit down for toasts, or like going and cutting the cake. You know, there's like a lull in between those events happening to get them to happen. Yeah, there's a transition. Right. He can't handle transitions. So he narrates what's going on in the middle of the transition. Like, oh, so-and-so is grabbing her mom or her dad, here they come, or we're walking over, or
like filling in airtime.
It literally narrating the entire time. There's a transition. Like, oh, where is the bride? Like saying names, like, where's the bride? Oh, here she is. She's coming up the stairs. Here she comes. She's making her way over. Oh, nope, she got distracted. Like literally the whole fucking time. And I was like,
no.
And then that same DJ, I think, has a very odd sense of humor, very dry.
Oh, no.
So you can't tell if he is being serious or if he is being a dry, sarcastic, funny. So like on the timeline, there was introductions, right? And I asked him, I went over to him and I was like, hey, are you going to go talk to them? before the introductions, because I usually do that and be like, hey, if you this venue in particular, it's a very long walk from where they come up for introductions to the dance floor. So I can't be in two places at once. So I don't want them to do like their fun dancey dance over where they first come up, and
gotcha.
then I don't get what they do on the dance floor, because everyone always wants to do a dancey dance as they come up because they're getting introduced and it's exciting, but I can't see it from that far away. So I wanted to ask him, like, hey, and I usually ask them, like, hey, if you talk to them, can you please tell them to not do whatever it is they're going to do until they get to the dance floor, because I'm already set up and lit and everything for the dance floor.
Yeah.
And so I went to him and I was like, hey, are you going to go talk to them? And he was like, why should I? They're all coming up together. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And he was like, well, do you have the itinerary? And very dry, but also very not rude, but just like, you should know this. Like, do you not have the itinerary? And I was like, I mean, I have my itinerary, but I don't have your itinerary. And he was like, well, this is what mine says, and like shows it to me. And it says like they're all coming up together. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, you could just say, no, they're all coming up together. I don't need to talk to them.
I dick about it.
Yeah, like, why do you have to be? And then he like kind of laughed about it. And I'm like, so were you serious, or were you joking with me and like just being like weirdly dry and sarcastic? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it, but I don't have time for this. Like, whatever this is that you're doing. And all I needed was a yes or no.
Simple as shit.
Simple as that. Like,
Jesus.
Yeah. Like, nobody shared your DJ timeline with me. I apologize. Like, the fuck? And then he flip-flopped the so they did a champagne pour, and then they did their cake cutting, and then they did their parent dances. Okay. Right? Because I wasn't made aware that they were transitioning the parent dances into bringing everyone up on the dance floor.
Oh, shit.
So in my timeline, in the original timeline that we talked about, which they got from the planner, they were going to do parent dances, and then they were going to do the cake cutting, and then they were going to do the champagne pour as like the woo, yay, let's all party kind of thing. So they flip-flopped it. So I panicked, and the DJ...
You want to know why real quick? Why that got flip-flopped or whatever? Because the DJ convinced them to do that. I've had that several times.
I get it, and it made sense because the DJ convinced them to invite everyone on the dance floor, because the groom and the mom ended up like doing the remix, and then they went into like a party song from
cute.
like a slow song, and then they remixed and they put sunglasses on, and then everyone got invited to the dance floor. Made total sense. Just tell me. Like, just do it.
I was about to say, your planner coordinator should let you know ahead of time, or the DJ or something.
I don't know if the DJ just like decided that and didn't tell anyone.
Oh shit.
Or whatever. But the videographer and I panicked because video already is set up for parent dances.
Yes.
And the cake cutting and the champagne pour were separate off the dance floor. So it was like dance floor, and then we had to go behind, like, it's a big barn, so we had to go behind, and like I'm fine, but the videographer needed to bring all of his lights over and like all that stuff to light the cake. So we had already set up for parent dances because that was what was in the timeline.
Shit.
So he went rogue or whatever and decided that we were going to do cake cutting and champagne pour first. And then I looked at him and I was like, are they doing parent dances? Like, did we just skip parent dances altogether? Like, and he was like, after the cake cutting, like, he got like really aggressive with it and was like, yeah, after the cake cutting or after this. And I was like, oh, okay. Somebody could have informed me. Like, videographers already fucking set up for parent dances on the dance floor. Like, we had, and then now he's scrambling, grabbing all of his lighting equipment.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, it was
shit.
So my grievance is like, we got to share timelines and don't be dicks about certain timelines, like situations. Like, it was also on me. I guess I should have at the very beginning, like, double checked our timeline, because I usually go over and I'm like, hey, like, here's my timeline, here's your timeline, let's make sure we're all on the same page.
Isn't that the worst? Like, the one time maybe that you don't do it just based off of time or whatever have you.
Trust, I don't know. Like, dude went, I mean, I don't know. And then the whole narrating thing, I was like, I'm never working with this man again. Like, I went to the planner and I was like, so do you like him? And she was like, yeah, we work together all the time. And I'm like, okay. she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, nothing. Like,
you said nothing.
No, I ended up telling her. But,
okay, I was about Sarah.
No,
Jesus
I ended up telling her.
Christ.
She was like, oh, I'm so sorry that that's happening.
Because to me, like, even I'm also thinking about it from a videographer standpoint. That means all that narrating bits, that that is included in your wedding film to some degree.
Yeah, he has to edit it all out if he doesn't want it.
If
but
he's able to.
Yeah, the whole narrating thing when he started, it was so cringy.
No,
it like doesn't.
bro.
It's not cute. I think he was trying to be cute, and it's not cute. And I think that happened to one of your girls too, because it was at my wedding with her, and I know it happened, but there was the MC, but it wasn't an MC. It was like a guest that was MCing like this specific portion of the wedding.
Love that.
Yeah, which is a whole nother thing, but it was like a cultural thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and he ended up calling out Rena.
They told me this.
Yeah, which is so inappropriate on so many levels.
She did tell me about this, that they were looking for a particular item, that particular item was exactly where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Had somebody just open up their fucking eyeballs.
Yeah. So the MC ended up not calling her out, but like asking like by name, like, where's Rena?
It's kind of like breaking the fourth wall.
It is. And it is.
Don't call out the help, man. Don't do that.
We're not the help. Don't say that.
Sorry.
Don't do that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But yes. But it is exactly like that. That's what it felt like. It felt like you were breaking a fourth wall, that like now this person who is supposed to be behind the scenes and like
she's exposed.
Yeah, it's like showing Oz that's what it felt like. It was like showing Oz and like pulling back the curtain, and I don't like that.
I always wondered if like other people have that feeling too, like other vendors have that feeling of like we try so hard to like stay as much out of the way, and, like out of the spotlight as possible.
Yes.
So that it feels like this wedding is being thrown together at like last minute, and it's beautifully and remarkably doing well.
Like, I can't stand, as a photographer, I can't stand when they're looking for me. Like, I always want to be there so that nobody's ever looking for me. So it's like, I'm like not following them around, but like I'm watching, like when people are getting into groups, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get this. So like people aren't looking for me. Like I don't ever want to be called by name.
Same.
Like I don't want to ever be like, where is Sarah? Like that means I'm not doing my job.
There's been a couple of times where
unless I'm eating, then leave me the fuck alone.
Valid. There's been a couple of times where it's nice, but at the same time I'm like, not necessary.
I know what you're gonna say, because I feel the same way.
Where they've shouted me out like in a thank you speech.
Yep.
And I love the acknowledgement, but I'm
just tip me.
Thank you. Like, tip me, leave me a really great review, send me a love note via email or whatever. Yeah. But like literally, and again, it's I'm very humbled and I'm very grateful. But I'm also sinking into the wall. Because because if you're calling me out, that means people are going to look for me. My hair's a mess. I'm probably a little flushed. By the time that we're getting to this point or whatever, like this is where my adrenaline is starting to come down because like
now you're tired.
The wedding is
you're
like
riding the wave
practically done at this point. Like we're just going to dance our little booties off and y'all are going to be good to go. Like I'm sweating. My hair's everywhere. My makeup's probably a little bit.
And you're just like coming from the corner like a gremlin, like,
hey. Or I probably have like my dinner or like a piece of cake in my hand. I'm like, hello. Yeah, it's happened a few times. Again, very thankful for it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. Thankfully, I've never been thanked. I mean, I get it, but every time they thank somebody else, like a vendor, I'm like, oh my God, that's so cringy watching you like, hey, like shaking your hands like, thank you, doing a bow. Like, what do you want from me?
Literally, that's also like what am I supposed to do? It's kind of like when someone is like singing happy birthday to you. What the fuck are you supposed to do?
Right. You just look around awkwardly. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. Stop looking at me.
Or sometimes I feel really bad if it's happened just one time where I've heard my name through the microphone, but I'm not in the room.
See?
Because I'm also doing my job. I'm doing something else.
Bad.
I know.
It looks like you're not doing your job.
But you're like doing my job somewhere else in a different room.
Yeah, you're doing like 3 jobs at this point, like trying to, oh God, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Again, I'm grateful and I'm very thankful for it. Yes, I am. I'm not bitching about it or whatever. I'm just sometimes.
It's uncomfy. getting called out at all. Like, even if I'm like standing up at the front of the ceremony and they're like, you know, we have professional photographers, like that's my name's been called out before, like, oh, Sarah, our professional photographer, will be taking great photos, like please put your phones away. And I'm like, please stop calling me by name. Like, don't, like, I'm
not here.
I'm already up here standing next to you very awkwardly for the last 10 minutes waiting for the fucking ceremony to start, and everyone's staring at me, and now they really are. So please, we all know I'm here. Just put your phones away. And I'm like, I always want to be like, yeah, put your fucking phones away. You heard him. Like, what do I, hello? Like, just,
I will cut you.
Yeah, just smile and wave. I don't know. It's
smile
just
and wave, boys.
very
Smile
uncomfortable. That's the end of my grievance. Like, the whole fucking narrating thing, that was just the cringiest shit I'd ever heard.
Bro, don't do that. Don't fucking do that.
Get an MC if you can't MC, and just,
or at the same time or whatever, just be confident, because that to me screams lack of confidence.
That's really what it was. It was very much lack of confidence.
Hell no.
Yeah, and he was not going to. You didn't hear me say that. Anyhow,
what do you got for us?
Okay, so
I'm gonna lose my shit.
This person.
God.
This person said they would like to not remain anonymous, and they don't care about it. However, there are a lot of names dropped in this.
Oh, God.
As far as venues and people and stuff. So I am going to executive decision and keep this person anonymous just for the sake of...
Are we putting fake names in here, too?
I think that's too hard for me.
Okay.
I'm just going to say venue or person.
Okay.
I'll try and keep it.
Reminder, you guys, most of the half the time that we do What the Fuck Wednesdays, I don't read them. So sometimes this is my very first time of me ever listening to this.
I take that responsibility on making sure that we have them, and then I can't handle not reading it. So, yeah. So I'm going to keep you anonymous. I'm sorry, but I think it's for your best interest.
We're helping you.
I'm helping you.
Jesus, that bad?
It's pretty bad.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And you did read this one, so you'll know.
Oh.
Once I start talking.
Okay.
And it's long, so we might only have time for one.
This one.
Yeah. Okay. So I think you briefly mentioned in the last What the Fuck Wednesday, but I have an inquiry story turned nightmare.
Oh,
I am awful at making things short, so take what you want and leave what you don't. I got an inquiry for a wedding at blank venue. It was my first wedding at this venue, and I have really wanted to get back there now that I've grown and love where I am at now, and I totally understand. Anyway, I have a phone consult, and red flag for me, number one, she could not get off the phone with me faster. Fine, maybe she was busy and squeezing me into her day, but she also alluded to that her budget was originally $2,500 for a photo, and she loved my style, but that was as much as she was willing to pay. I got her contract ready, and she originally said that her budget was $2,500, but she loved my style so much that she was willing to pay that. And so she got her contract ready and sent it to her, and then she responds back with, so I read in the contract that we would be required to serve you and your partner a meal. I don't think that's appropriate for someone I'd be hiring to do a job that they are already getting paid for. So considering a meal is on the average of $200 with inflation, packing a lunch in a cooler is ideal. If that is something that you can remove from the contract, I'd be more than happy to make a payment today, or we would be okay with deducting $400 off of the package. I respond, letting her know that yes, I require meals, and I require it to be equivalent to the main entree that the guests are being served. No Uncrustables and apple for me, please. LOL. The reason being is that we are typically never having downtime, and packing a meal, storing it, and preparing it is not an option on wedding days, especially where the venue is. Leaving there for food is not an option either. Additionally, I did not let her know this, but I am from Richmond, and I do DMV weddings at no extra charge. But I really need a solid meal in that case because this is a long day with driving. So I send her some people that cost a bit less so that she can still feed them but also afford them. She then anonymously posts about needing a photographer in the same date and same town, but wants someone who does not require to be fed. A friend sees it and sends it to me. In the post, she argues with the commenters that a construction worker can eat out in their car, so can a photographer. People tell her vendor meals are cheaper and that she should feed the team. Around the same time, she emails back and says, yes, so I just asked around and I was informed that the vendor meal is typically a reduced price, which is doable. So in that case, I'll be happy to do that for you and your partner. That makes more sense. With that being said, I will process the payment for sure tomorrow because I don't want to miss out on an amazing photographer like yourself. This is about the same time that this specific photographer group had a viral post about someone who got a fake review because she commented on the post defending the photographers. And then my post that also went into that group, that went viral in that group, is posted by me trying to find a way to word it to her that I'm not working for her. Everyone under the sun commented to run, so I plan to. I hope that makes sense. I think it does. In the meanwhile, as I'm deciding what to write to her, I get 4 phone calls from her. This is why I was so hesitant on calling. I'm not going to say that.
Oh, God.
Okay, wait, no. This is why I was so hesitant on calling our mutual bride for a consultation. She's talking to you, Katie. This had just happened, and then since I try not to give out my phone after they're booked. And then I got another phone call from her fiance. I answered none of them, but thank the Lord for caller ID. I also got a random inquiry, quote unquote, for the same date and location with no personal information. I finally emailed her back, letting her know that I am not a good fit for her. She responds with, wow, all because I didn't know how vendor meals work. You're really that greedy. People pay thousands of dollars for a wedding not to have to provide a meal for someone they're paying to do a job. I work 8+ hour shifts in healthcare. Parentheses, a real job, and don't get paid nearly as much in one day that you do. God. You're making someone's 3-month salary, and your biggest concern is not getting a meal from your bride and groom. Wishing you the best of luck with that one. I work my ass off 3 jobs, and I'm still trying to make ends meet. I know what the investment is better than anyone, yet I still would not change anything with my pricing. I was blown away, but happy I was not a victim of her fake name reviews until I actually was. A few weeks later, I got a review from someone with the same name as the person who wrote the other girl a bad review, except mine is on Google, and if you don't know, it is impossible to get a Google review down. The review just says, greedy and rude. Don't waste your time and money. Not responsive either. So that's it. That's my story. Lesson is, you can't stop crazy. That was a long one.
What the fuck?
Whew! I need a sip of water after that. Good God.
I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
From the vendor meal situation to the real job.
Yeah. That's just...
I work in healthcare.
A real job. Yeah, fuck off. No. You dodged a bullet, first of all.
Jesus Christ.
Go with your gut instincts, always. You dodged a crazy at that point. What's really fun is I saw that viral post in the group because we're in the same mutual group. I saw that viral post before she wrote in, and I never comment on things because I always second guess my opinions. But yeah, I saw that before she wrote in. When she wrote in, I was like, oh shit, I know this. It's exciting.
Bro, what the hell?
Yup. So, I mean, I don't really think we need any explanation because I think that's just crazy.
That whole thing is just like a what? Yeah, that whole thing is a what the fuck moment.
Ever.
Jesus Christ, man.
We can run this into a vendor meal grievance if we want to because it kind of relates. But I have issues.
I just got the most evil smirk on my face just now.
I have issues with the whole vendor meal thing. Because I get it, it's expensive, but also we are there for a very, very long time.
Also, vendor meals though are literally, they are cheaper.
Are they? I did not know that.
Yes, the caterers do not. The caterers that I work with, they do not charge the same price per a guest than they do for an actual
Even
vendor.
if it's the full meal?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. I did not know that. So the issue I have is with the catering companies that, one, don't provide a vendor meal and give you whatever, or like an actual guest meal, and give you some random shit that I've been told is left over from the prior. It can be left. If you're getting like a different meal than what the guests are getting, chances are it's left over from like the prior event that they're just like reheating for you.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, I've heard that. Also, if you're not, why are you making an entirely different meal when it's cheaper?
Bro, that's the shit that I don't understand. Like, I feel like you're doing more work for yourself having to like create a whole ass other meal.
Right.
Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense.
I don't get that. And then also, like, if put yourself in our shoes. Like, if you were working nonstop for however many hours, at least probably 6+ hours from a photographer standpoint and a planner standpoint, we're already at least working 6 hours deep into this once dinner starts, ish, sometimes 5.
Oh no, it's more for me.
Well, yes, I'm at like probably 6 once the time dinner starts. Put yourself in our shoes. Do you want to eat like a PB&J, or would you really love to eat what the guests are eating? Like, it's a great
I also
want
to give it to like the perspective of like, you know, when you go because I feel like the wedding industry is like one of the industry, one of I don't know if there's other industries that are not we're not regulated.
Right.
So like, for example, you know, like when you actually work for like other like, I don't want to say like legitimate businesses, like other like businesses or whatever, like in like the break room you have the big huge like Department of Labor poster that they're supposed to sign in there or whatever, and it's in the Department of Labor like little poster, it says like, if you work this many hours you're guaranteed this. Like, there are laws by it.
Right.
In the wedding industry, because we're like small business or like independent contractors technically, that the labor laws don't apply.
Right.
Can you
do they? Have we asked anyone? I wonder if they do.
Yo, I don't know.
I wonder if they do.
If you're listening to this and you know anything about this, please write in. My first assumption was that like, no, because I technically were like independent contractors and I don't.
Yeah, but we're still contracted.
Yeah, but the independent contractor though, they're the ones who set the rules. That's why we put it into our contracts. You have to feed us because by law, I don't think that somebody has to feed us unless we put that into the requirement.
I see.
Do you know what I mean?
We're regulating ourselves.
Yeah. So like, for example, I'm thinking about like when you hire a contractor to come to your house and they're contracting them to paint the whole entire house. They might put in their contract, hey, if we are at your house like for 8 hours, we do take 1 hour just to do like a lunch break or something like that. That's the way that I look at it, is that it's their but because it's a contractor type situation, it's not an employee. And so in the wedding industry, we all are independent contractors that these couples are hiring. So we have to set the tone of like, when you contract us, these are the requirements that we have in order for us to do the job that you're hiring us to do.
Yeah, I read some of the comments on that post and I remember a lot of them saying like, if that's fine, like if you don't want to feed me, totally fine, but I will be taking an hour-long break.
I've read other vendors' contracts when I'm looking at my contracts for my couples or whatever. Yeah. All the same line.
Because I have to now leave the venue and potentially miss as a photographer.
Have you ever had to do that?
No, my couples are nice.
Praise God.
Yeah. I mean, I have been fed shitty vendor meals before.
Oh yeah, same.
But that was when I first started and was not advocating for myself.
There is a catering team that we work with often, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That on the inside, I have heard that this person has ranted about why should the vendors get fed, period. Mm-hmm. Like,
but that's not on you. That's not up to you.
For real.
Like,
your couples
fuck off.
Your couples are paying for it. Why do you care? It's not like your couples are asking you to feed the vendors for free.
Yeah.
Like they're paying for it.
Yeah. So I don't get it. And I think that honestly, like, word of mouth from as a vendor speaks of volumes, because we know the back end and we know we've seen how you work. We see how you how you function as a team. We see how you treat your vendors, how you treat everyone else around you, how you treat people that may or may not have anything to do with you, but how you treat them reflects how you are referred.
Yep.
And we advocate for the people that we like. I mean, I would never advocate for somebody that doesn't. Like, there are a couple catering teams that I will never, and I will tell people ahead of time. I have no business telling people my opinions on things, but when they ask, I'm like, hey, you need to watch out for this caterer. If they tell me that they're like going in and like having a tasting or whatever, I'm be like, this is what has happened in the past. I just need you to be aware of this before you spend a fuck ton of money on them and have poor service.
Yep.
Like, I don't think
you just described my entire job.
I know, but like, I don't think caterers specifically and DJs or whatever understand that the people that they are collaborating with to create this event for people are the ones that are referring them.
Yeah.
Because yes, maybe you have shitty food, but if you have great staff and great presence and whatever, that makes up tenfold for the potentially low quality food.
Yep.
But if you have great food and you have shitty customer service and shitty staff,
it don't matter to me.
It don't matter.
Nope.
Absolutely not. Because we're the ones that have to fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
So anyway. Anywho.
I don't, the whole vendor meal things.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, it is known. It is not new.
This is
not new that some vendors need to be fed a lot quicker if they are provided a meal.
Oh my God.
Like, it's not new.
The most recent ones, especially when I have bands, when I have bands or whatever, bands in comparison to DJs, their contracts are very, very different, similar, but very different, because the band is literally contracted a certain amount of hours of playtime.
Right.
Because they have to take breaks in between.
Right.
Normally it's about a 15-minute break. Typically every 45 to an hour set, they do a 15-minute break. So for my catering teams, the fact that you are refusing to feed the vendor team in general all at the same time, but even more specifically the band right at the same time that the couple is getting fed, you are literally inserting yourself in breach of contract for the band to the client, because now what ends up happening is that you're taking away their playtime, like their airtime or whatever, in playing. And so technically then the band is going to be in breach of contract to the couple, because when the wedding is said and done and over, maybe they only played three hours instead of the 4 that they're contracted for, because you refused to feed them during the hour dinner service that we had. Now you've taken up 2 hours worth of dinner service. 1 hour was for the guests and for the couple, and the other hour, or it's like 30 minutes, was for the vendor team. Yeah. It doesn't make sense to me.
I have kind of a controversial question to ask on that.
Okay, go.
I find it odd. I guess it's not a question. I guess it's more of my opinion and something that you can bounce back off of. Mm-hmm. I find it odd that people that have not been there, like the photo booth guy, or like the DJs most of the time, if they're not like DJing the entire like ceremony and everything, but like live bands are usually setting up during cocktail hour. Or whatever, or like during the ceremony they're setting up inside or whatever.
Yeah.
I just find it odd that those people are required to be fed when they've only been there for maybe 3 to 4 hours, or they will only be there for 3 to 4 hours.
You have to look at it from a perspective of, one, it is technically during a dinner hour, so they would be, if they don't get fed, they're missing a complete meal in general in and of itself, because they don't have their currently at a time and place where they're not able to they're not able to have dinner at all.
Okay.
And to look at it from the perspective of how we, like, your time frame started maybe 3 hours beforehand, but you're not staying all the way to the very end.
Right.
But they are staying to the very, very end. And so now they're like 8 hour, most bands are not there like for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Valid. Or DJs, they're not there necessarily like for 8 hours. Hold on, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Sometimes.
11. Yeah. Yeah, 9 hours, because I'm thinking about like my DJs if they're loading in.
I'm just more so, I think I guess DJs are a little different because a lot of the times they're setting up for ceremony and they've been there for an hour prior to, and then they're staying all the way to the end. But it's more so like the photo booth guy or the random like attendant or like something that's just like super random that they're only contracted for like 3 hours but yet require a meal.
For like my photo booth people or like those kind of specialty rentals where they're there for a small amount, it is actually, in my opinion, it's rare for them to have a vendor meal clause in their contract unless they have they will normally state. I have seen where if they're there for more than 4 hours, then they do say like, hey, we're required a meal of some kind. But normally if they're there for a short amount of time, yeah, I don't.
Okay.
And that honestly, if they're given a vendor meal, it's just because the couple or myself, they're already there. We're already getting vendor meals anyway. Right. It's a courtesy.
Yeah.
But most of like those like photo booth people that are just coming like maybe an hour before reception has started and they're setting up and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, a lot of them don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when I see them, I'm like, you haven't been here for very long.
Like I had, whatchamacallit, I did have a live wedding painter where she was only contracted for 4 hours. And technically in her contract, she was not like she didn't have to require vendor meals, or I think she had said like, hey, I'll just bring my own stuff. And I'm like, is it because of allergies or like whatever? She's like, no. Well, she's newer. And so she's like, no, I just bring my own thing. And I'm like, well, we're already eating dinner. Yeah. So like I can bring you one. I can bring you a vendor meal. That's totally fine. Like it's, what is it? No harm, no foul type situation. And she was thankful for it, but she didn't have it like in her. And then I educated her and I'm like, if you're going to be here for more than 4 hours, I just would encourage you to put something in there that you get fed.
Yeah. To circle back, the whole it's not new thing. It's not new that toasts happen when the last table is served. And if toasts are happening when the last table is served and then you're not serving until after everyone is served, I'm in the middle of doing toasts and the videographer's in the middle of doing toasts and the DJ is in the middle of emceeing the toasts.
I don't understand why caterers can't think. I explain this to them every single time whenever I get pushback about vendor meals. No, we feed you after all the guests have been fed. Bitch,
it's not a hierarchy thing.
Bro,
it's a timeline thing. Yeah.
We go back to work then. Our break time is now over.
Yeah.
Like we're not photographing. Y'all are not photographing people sticking a fork in their mouth.
No.
You're not photographing like people coming up and having conversations with the bride and groom at the head and sweetheart table, which also is another fucking thing that drives me nuts. But like
I would just allot the time that, I mean, it's going to happen every fucking wedding. Just allot the time that when you feed the bride, when you put the bride and groom's plate together, you put the X amount of plates together.
What I've now started doing is I've started requesting, hey, when you guys are like in the moment of transitioning from cocktail hour to dinner service, go ahead and just plate the vendor meals immediately, and you don't worry about the staff.
Yeah,
like bringing it. My team, my planning team.
I'll come get it.
We will physically come and get it to you.
Yeah,
we will come and grab it from you. Just because
I don't need service.
Because sometimes catering teams, I think. Again, no one has actually said this to me, like, to my face about, like, well, hey, like, we just need the staff to, like, they're all busy, like, doing dinner service for the guests or whatever. No one has said that to me, but I'm starting to put two and two together as to, like, maybe that's the reason why that they're, like, kicking and screaming about it. If that is the case, by God, I will come and get a tray and I will literally take all the vendor meals. I don't have a problem with that. But you simply coming to me and telling me, no, you don't get fed until all the guests have been fed, you are a moron. You're a moron, because put it into perspective.
It's stupid.
Then we have to go back to work. The DJ, the band has to go back to work. It's their time to shine now. Honestly, at this point, it's go time for them. Okay. The photographer and the videographer, they're only here for 2 more hours or whatever. And now, if you really want it to be that way, put now that whole thing.
Not everyone's only there for 2 more hours. Sometimes we're there for another 4 hours.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. If they've contracted y'all to stay to the very end of the evening, which I don't understand why they do that to you. I feel so mad. I'm like, you can only take so many like
exits.
Faux send off people.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Anyways, I advocate for y'all. I'm like,
I know you do.
You bitches want to go home. And lay down. Me too. But, I signed up for what I signed up for, so it's fine. But at any rate, I got to make sure a drunken guest doesn't, like, burn themselves with a fucking sparkler. Anyway, babysitting adults. what was I going to say? I just put the catering teams, put yourself now into your couple's shoes. If you are refusing your vendor teams to eat until after the guests are eating, you now are forcing your couple's wedding reception to fall behind on their timeline.
Yeah.
It is your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault. It is your fucking fault.
I just don't get it. I don't know if it's like,
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think it's because they were like, well, like we are contracted to serve the guests and blah, blah, blah. So the kind of stuff like the catering teams look at us as help only. And like we get like the scraps or whatever. We don't actually get scraps, vendor meal, especially those that are the full entree, but they think of us as last. And look, I understand kind of like you're similar. You said in one of our latest episodes where you had said like in regards to vendor galleries, you focus on the client gets the gallery first and the vendors get it second. Sure. But you still send it to
this is coming out before the vendor gallery, that episode, but it's fine.
Oh, my
Easter
bad.
egg.
Whoops. There we go. We talk about vendor galleries. Yeah, I can't remember like where our scheduling is. But anyway, it's just... I try to advocate now, and even so to the point where I've gotten so calloused about it that now at final walkthroughs in front of the client, in front of the client's parents, I've literally looked the caterer in the eyeball and I've said, and I also want to confirm that the vendor meals will be fed at the exact same time as the couple.
Good for you.
Because now what the fuck are you going to say?
Yeah.
So had a phone call last night with a couple and I had told them, hey, just an FYI, you've got a caterer that I work with often, and this is what they typically do in regards to vendor meals. I gave them a heads up because I wanted to go ahead and set it up for them, not to talk shit about the catering team, but to tell them if your wedding reception starts falling behind, it's probably because of this.
Yeah.
That your photo video team is going to start shoveling food down their throat and we're trying to give them time just to eat or whatever. And they both were like, we will be sending an email and making sure that this does not happen. Thank you for bringing it to our attention because it's super important for us that y'all get fed on time.
Yeah. Most people, this woman excluded, this what the fuck Wednesday inquiry that excluded because she sucks. But most couples understand and will advocate for you if you speak up.
Yeah.
Also, because
I've had couples on wedding
yourself.
day. Do they come to you sometimes on wedding day? Did you eat?
Yes.
Like, did you get a chance to eat?
Every wedding.
They literally.
But my clients are wonderful people.
I know.
So
Bomb.com.
yeah. So, but every wedding, they're like, oh my God, did you get a chance to eat? Or like, please eat, or please try the hors d'oeuvres. They're so good. Or like, whatever.
I get offered alcohol a whole lot. And
I do too. And I'm like, no, thank you.
I'm at work, remember?
Yeah. I'm working. You're playing. Okay. But yeah, it's really sad and shitty that we still have to deal with this. Like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And I want somebody to make it make sense. And it doesn't. And it never will.
Again, to me, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I don't know a perspective. I'm being ignorant or whatever. But at the same time, though, yes, I'm not in the actual kitchen itself.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it long enough where I see the logistics of like everything. And I just can't put...
Where did I see this?
I don't know.
I saw something about somebody getting mad that they were, as a caterer, they were getting mad that the vendors were coming up to them asking for vendor meals. Did you see this somewhere? I don't know where I saw this. It was in some group. The catering staff was getting mad that they were constantly being asked, like, where the vendor meals are. And, like, where's my vendor meal? Where can I eat? All this stuff. We only ask that, one, because we want to know where we need to go to make your job easier.
Yep.
We are asking because we need to, one, have a timeline. Is my meal coming out now, or are you going to make me wait? And three, we're hungry. We're hungry as fuck. Mm-hmm. And I bring snacks. I do. I bring snacks, but I've also, everyone always slights you when they walk by you with hors d'oeuvres. Otherwise, I'd be shoving shit in my face. But like, I don't want to take hors d'oeuvres because I know that's frowned upon. Unless you offer it to me, then fuck yeah, we're best friends. Okay.
I normally. So here's my little secret that I do for that is sometimes it's always weird. You know, like nobody wants to take like the last chip, the last hors d'oeuvre like on a plate or whatever. So you know where my ass is standing? Right next to the fucking catering kitchen door.
I can't stand there, but I would.
I
would. I have had, so it's just the people that go above and beyond are the ones that are obviously referred. I've had catering staffs literally bring me a plate.
Same.
I've had them bring me a platter of, it wasn't even the catering staff, it was the planner that went and said, can you please make a assorted platter, and brought it to us.
Oh,
And they were like, here, please snack on this. We know you're hungry.
Man,
like, we're
and I
people.
love you too. I don't even do that shit.
I know. It's okay. But I've had catering, like head caterers, like whoever that person is.
Captain, yeah.
The captain. Yeah, I've had them come and say, like, can I get you anything? Or I've had, catering staff when they walk by me, they're like, here, have one or whatever.
I've seen
like it just means the world, because we're human. Like we're human. Obviously we're working, but we do this every weekend, and it's nice when like we're involved and like actually looked at as a human being.
It's a small touch
and not the fucking help, because you're also the help. I'm sorry, but you're also the help. I'm the help. We're not. I don't like that term,
but we technically
we are like, we are providing a service.
Yep.
All of us, like you included, catering staff, you are providing a service. We're also providing a service. We're all human. We all would like to just be treated as such.
Yep.
And it's no skin off your back if you
also,
give me a fucking hors d'oeuvre.
You've already been paid.
Yes.
To do it. It's not like we're asking for it for free. It would be different if, for God-forsaken whatever reason, that the couple didn't pay for vendor meals, and the vendor is going up being like, where's my food, bitch, or whatever. And then again, but just politely educate, hey, the couple did not pay for a vendor meal for you. I'm so sorry, or whatever. Then if we have anything left over, I'm more than happy to bring it to you at the very end of the evening, or at the end of like dinner service. I feel like that would be, but that doesn't happen.
That's very rare.
That does not happen. It doesn't happen like whatsoever. So
I think that person that posted about being asked about vendor meals, it was like, we're so busy like doing X, Y, and Z, trying to get plates out and all that stuff. The last thing that we want from you is to be asked like where your meal is. I mean, if you just communicated it up front.
Oh, 1,000%.
Or like,
so normally, like for the caterers that I constantly refer and work with all the damn time. So the different like hierarchy within the catering team, I don't have to go into too much detail with it. There's like an event designer, and then there's your banquet captain, your supervisor, and then your staff, bartenders, actual serving staff, sous chefs, if those actually come on site, depending on how that catering team works. Your event designer is the one that like the couple has been speaking to the entire time of like building their proposal and connecting or putting a quote together and yada yada. The event designer normally only stays up until the conclusion of dinner service, because they want to make sure everything is going over really well. Then normally by the time that dinner service is over, the bus service has come and gone as well. Then the event designer typically leaves, and then the banquet captain takes over as point of lead, because at that point they're just continuing to bus. There's not a whole lot for the catering team. It's pretty much a slow breakdown for the rest of the evening. And then you've got your supervisor, who the banquet captain is kind of like my position, where I'm overseeing like my assistants, and then I might have a lead assistant if I'm having multiple girls. And it kind of trickles down to that. So the banquet captain then goes to the supervisor, and the supervisor then goes to like all the different catering staff in and of itself. So like for me, like the banquet captain is my point of contact after my event designer. Even so, I'll be honest, I'll even go to the banquet captain first before I go to the event designer. Because the event designer sometimes is connecting with and maybe is doing like those personal touches with the couple, whereas the banquet captain is making sure that their staff is like in line. So if I need something food or like service wise, I'll go to the banquet captain first, and I'll be like, yo, I need an extra fork at table 14 or something like that at this chair. Because I'm just going straight to the person or whatever. But at any rate, so there was a point of me saying all of this.
The vendor meals.
So with the whole vendor meal situation, they do have a workflow and and all that sort of thing too. But typically it is the event designer though that will make sure that we'll put all the vendor meals together, and then they're the ones that are communicating with me, or they should be communicating them with the photographer, because unfortunately y'all fall into the planner category when you guys don't have a planner coordinator on site. they'll go to the photographer being like, hey, this is where the vendor meals are going to be like located, or this is where we've plated them, or this is where you can come collect it, all that sort of thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Normally what I see is when a catering team is bitching about like you coming and interrupting or whatever, it's because they don't have their shit together in the back, where there's mass chaos for whatever the fuck reason, which then communicates to me that you're either a rookie at this or you just really suck at being a catering team. And just because you can make some delicious food, if you can't get yourself organized in the back kitchen, it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
It's literally not going to matter. Your food could be bomb, but like we've talked about before, if the dinner service is slow, it's not going to matter, because that is what the lasting impression is. So I think to really end it all, it's just, it is perplexing to me, but now I'm trying to really avoid any of that kind of confusion or any other kind of quote unquote miscommunication about vendor meals. And I'm starting to call them out on funnel walkthroughs.
I love that.
Just being like,
I love that.
I need to confirm when I'll even throw the excuse as to like, I just want to make sure that I'm putting it onto the timeline of when the vendors are going to be fed.
Yeah.
I'll throw it that way. But really the shade is, it's a passive aggressive ask of like, you will be feeding us and at the same time as the couple, because now I'm going to pin you against the wall and you're going to say it in front of the couple too. Cause I'm not fighting you on wedding day. I'm not doing it.
I love that anyone who listens to this is listening to this that you probably work with.
And they know. They know. I just had a
Now
tasting this
they
past
know.
week at one of my favorite catering places. I recommend them all the time or whatever. They know my personality. And we actually had a very similar conversation. They were like, oh no, when we work with the Tilly and Teal team,
aware.
we do. But also they're like that even apart from working with us or whatever. They're phenomenal about bringing vendor meals like immediately out. And it's just, and this is why I constantly refer to you.
Yeah. It all circles back to being a team. Just be a team player.
Please.
That's all we ask.
Bless it.
Anywho, thank you so much.
What a good episode.
That was great. Thank you so much for writing in. Please submit your What the Fuck Wednesdays. If you have any stories you want to share, we want to hear from you. And where can they find us?
So you can find us on Instagram at Behind the Aisle Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then individually, we have our own Instagrams. We'll shout out in just a second. But to submit a What the Fuck Wednesday memory or like instance or whatever, go to behindtheaislepodcast.com and it's right there, y'all, front and center. Y'all, it's a Google form. Y'all just fill it out. You can remain anonymous if you'd like to. You don't have to give out names. Or we might just have you remain anonymous anyway for your own well-being.
Yes.
Yeah, submit it. Literally, y'all, when you're thinking about it on wedding days and all that kind of stuff too, like if you're like, what the fuck is going on or whatever, just remember, you can submit it.
Just type it in. Just send it in.
Share it with the world.
We want to hear from you.
Spill it a tea.
And if you need to find me on Instagram for any reason, you can find me at Serendipity Photography. It's SARA, like my name, Indipity Photography. And where can they find you?
TILLYANDTEAL, Tilly and Teal, on Instagram as well.
Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.